like to call to order the meeting of the Fall River Redevelopment Authority, Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. This meeting is open to the public to attend in person at the above referenced date, time, and location, which is now. A recording of the open session can be viewed at Fall River Government Television, www.frgtv.us. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recording or transmission are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. We're going to start out with a roll call. John Erickson here.
Louis Gonzo's here.
Ron Rusin here.
Ann Keen here.
Also,
Joan Medeiros here.
So joining us on the big screen is Joan. Welcome back, Joan.
Thank you.
Ken Fiola, our Executive Director, Sarah Page, and Karen Martin, Project Coordinator.
Joni, you have to specifically mention that there's a member attending remotely, because...
Yeah, in case you haven't figured it out, Joan is attending remotely up here.
Is John going to be here tonight?
Coughlin?
No, John isn't going to be here
Okay.
tonight.
Open session meeting minutes from August 23. Are there any comments on those minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second. John Erickson, yes.
Louis Gonzo's, yes.
Ron Rusin, yes.
Ann Keen, yes.
Okay.
Joan Medeiros, yes.
All right. So, Joe, get a look at the warrant. I know Joan went through the warrant. Any questions on that? No? Okay.
Motion to move it.
Second.
Second.
John Erickson, yes.
Louis Gonzo's, yes.
Ron Rusin, yes.
Ann Keen, yes.
Joan Medeiros, yes.
Okay. Sarah, do you want to do the audit update?
Sure. So we are happy to say that Karen uploaded all the information that's needed for the audit, and all that the auditor is waiting for is information from the retirement account, and she has a strategy to deal with that in case she isn't able to get that. And so we're going to be deeply in this audit in October and hope to get it to you at one of the next meetings to look at.
Okay. Karen, did you want to talk to that supplemental drainage?
Yeah, so some of the things that have been going on at City Pier, we did complete the supplemental drainage work that was done as of September 14th. The engineer went out and took a look at it. There is just a couple little areas where De Silva's got to go back and do a little bit of hand grading. I'm supposed to get that sketch. Hopefully it's in my mailbox now, and Tim should hopefully be out shortly thereafter when we get it to just tweak it a little bit. The grass looks like it's growing back nicely from what he's replanted, so that area should hopefully be a big asset. And it does look like, because we have had a little bit of rain in the past couple of weeks, it does look like it makes a big difference with draining from that south center section of the pier. And so it looks like it was, in general, a successful project. And then I can continue on with some dock updates. Right now, the docks, we are pretty much nearing completion. Some of the outstanding things remain. They're just fine-tuning the fence along the existing concrete edge, and the dock itself is all in. The only thing that needs to really be done on the dock are the pile caps, which they're hoping to get in this week. There is still hope that they come. They're all ordered. They measured all the piles, and I think they're within like a ½ inch in the diameter, so they should look a lot better. once the final fence is all set in place, then their temporary setup will come out. And the camera installation is supposed to start next week. I'm meeting with him tomorrow on the site just to walk it through and double check everything, but he's planning to be out there next week to put the cameras in. And I think hopefully we will be done and have substantial completion within the next few days, so it's all imminent.
Is that dock plan being used this year, or?
Technically, the boating season ends October 1st.
Okay.
But,
Not looking good.
no. The barge did leave last week, so that was good. So it's now all open water. It's nice to walk out there. And, oh, the only other thing that I did talk to the engineer about doing is the seagulls like to land on the piles now, and once we put the pile caps on, they won't have that ability. But the top of the gantry is flat, and that may end up being a spot that they want to land on. We hadn't ever really considered that during the design phase, so I talked to him about either putting maybe some Nixolite, which is those spikes up there, or something, because otherwise if they land on that and poop, it could get on people and stuff, so that's kind of nasty. So he's looking into that, and he's going to get back to me with some potential options for that.
Is it just one, or is there a bunch of them?
What location?
Just one area?
Yeah, it's just like as you're going down the gangway, you'll see that the gantry, which
Yeah.
rises the thing. The very top, that steel beam
It's flat, yeah.
is flat,
Okay.
and they're pretty smart, those seagulls. So I'm assuming that they will eventually find that to be a nice landing spot once we put the pile caps on.
So are we not opening up at all this year?
Well, we didn't have insurance until today, which I'll
Okay.
talk about in a little bit. So that was the other hindrance. And we also don't have a harbor master.
Who's a harbor master?
There's an interim guy who doesn't seem to be too into
The harbor
his-
master's out
Out
with an
indefinitely.
injury, and they don't know when he's coming back yet.
So,
You sure about that?
as of
Unless
Friday.
I'm
I
not
haven't-
sure. I heard differently, but
You heard he was back?
I heard that that he was coming back shortly, or he's back.
Oh,
But
great.
in any event, I think
Call
We
him
should-
tomorrow.
I would call the mayor's office and ask about that. But in any event, I think it'd be a shame if we can't get some
I know.
dockage this year.
So
Because
what-
even though the weather, the boating season goes as long as the weather's conducive.
Yeah, what is that date? Where did that come from?
From him, the harbor master.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
But-
usually April 1st to October 1st.
But
Right.
we just put that dock and people want to tie up to it,
Yeah.
right? You know, and actually, we were supposed to be already open.
Right, it was.
Right, so I would just see if there's some way we can actually facilitate it.
Even for a couple of weeks, just till it starts getting cold and rainy and slippery, yeah.
Yeah, because I think people are, we got the cleats,
Yeah.
we'll
Oh, yeah,
have
they're
the-
all there.
Yeah, everything's pretty
Yeah.
much ready to roll.
Yeah.
Do we have the signage for the gate?
No.
That's the final, it'll come when he puts the lock on.
When's he putting a lock on?
Supposedly he's gonna have all that finished this week,
Like 2 days from now?
in theory.
Okay.
That is what
So,
we were
so
told.
speaking of the gantry, I need a motion to direct the chair to approve. We've been using the GC's chain fall to raise the gangway, so we need to buy our own. And I just need a motion to direct the chair to approve up to $2,000 to purchase one for our use.
Yeah, we got a quote from Coastal. They're gonna supply us the gantry, the shackles, and the strapping, and we'll put it through as a change order number 2 on the contract. So, and it's gonna end up being roughly just under probably $2,000.
A motion for a what? I didn't hear what.
It's a chain fall
Okay,
And other items.
and the shackles.
The shackles and straps.
so motion
yeah.
for a chain fall, and all the extra parts needed up to 2,000. So moved.
Second.
John Erickson, yes.
Louis Conzos, yes.
Ron Rusin, yes.
Ann Keen, yes.
Joan, can you hear us okay?
Joan Madeira, yes.
Yep.
You can? Okay,
Good.
good.
Maintenance.
Maintenance, yeah, we're gonna talk, yeah.
Yes, I was just gonna give an update on the maintenance. So, One of the things that did happen since our last meeting is we had a leak at the backflow preventer on the water meter. It was a lot leaked out before we were able to get the water turned off and get it repaired. There's no alarm system the way it is now, and where the water meter enclosure is located, it's right in the middle of that main planting bed near where the big the main panel is on the project. So when it leaks into the ground. You're not necessarily seeing like water all over the place until it saturates that area and leaks out. So tomorrow when I'm meeting the camera guy there, he's a security company, I was gonna have him look and see if there's any type of, he believes he can install like a Wi-Fi alarm that would probably send a text message that something's wrong, and we can get down there a lot quicker than having somebody just randomly report it and go through a lot of communication before we get to the right people to get the water shut off. So, and what happened was we had to end up replacing the first check on the backflow preventer. But it's repaired and it's been fine since, so. So we'll see what that entails and what the possibilities, and what he'll recommend. So, I'll probably have something for the board for the next meeting on that, but we're hoping that would be helpful. And we are still, we still have the irrigation system charged, but obviously with the rain it hasn't been really needed, but we're using it to sprinkle the new grass that's coming in from the supplemental drainage, where I'm gonna hopefully get with the landscaper. I have a message into him to meet me over at the pier tomorrow and look at just reseeding a couple of the areas that, you know, due to some of the heavy traffic, like where the food trucks were on the geoturf, just kind of getting some seed in there so we can get a head start for the spring. So I reached out to a bunch of the, I reached out to like 4 irrigation companies, one being the people that installed it, but they're not being very responsive. And the most responsive, and I think the one who's really taken the time to go out and take a look at it and really, that I have confidence that he knows what he's doing, is this P&G irrigation, and he will likely be the one that we have do the closeout and the startup in the spring. So, and he's just waiting for my call on that. And then the other thing is we've the landscape and irrigation. That's probably
Passivation.
What was that?
The passivation.
That's
FBI.
coming up.
That's coming up. Sarah's going to jump on that
Well,
one.
we have to get the container, right?
Yeah, so one of the other things that we have to do is, so we've got a bunch of spare parts for the dock, and working with Ken and then Kenny over at the State Pier, we've got them in an area that is under Kenny's domain over at State Pier. One of the things that I went down and talked to DCF, they, remember we had talked about putting a Connex box out there, and they had hemmed and hawed at the price of a new Connex box, so they were looking to get a smaller unit from Granger that you can assemble in the field. But I was like, wait, hold on, now we have a bunch of spare parts. Like we have composite decking material, we have cleats, we have a bunch of the bumpers, and now we're gonna have these chain falls and straps and things like that that we're gonna need a little bit of a place to store. So we discussed going half and half on the Connex, and his price was close to $6,000 to drop it in place. So we'd be looking at probably like $3,000, and they'd probably store, like they'd probably take half of it and they'd put their chairs, their tables, and some barricades. And then I talked to them about building some potential, actually they have some steel shelving that might be able to put in there, but some either wood frame shelving or something that we could just slide the slats on and get some, you know, storage for the spare parts. And that way it's easier accessible if we need something in a hurry. Other than that, we'd have to get Kenny down the State Pier, and it just makes it a little bit logistically easier.
You're gonna put that on site?
Yeah, that was when we had talked about putting up near the Duval Street, where the south walkway starts, south side walkway starts in that corner. And so the split on that would be like roughly $3,000.
So what about when we talked about painting it?
That's still gonna, that would
Oh.
still happen regardless
Is it
of.
gonna be like an artist thing, or?
I think it was one of, they were gonna look to one of the youth groups, that Yay, I think it was, he was talking about using,
So you splitting it with?
DCF,
DC,
facilities,
DCM.
yeah. So the facilities people, it's just a hassle for them to bring the tables, the chairs, and the barricades every time there's an event. And this way, if they just keep them right there, it's an easy open, easy close. And we're gonna provide the lock. They've already got a key to our master lock anyway, so it should be hopefully an easier, more efficient system.
Did they agree to 3,000?
Yeah,
You need a motion for us to pay 3,000?
yeah, we would need
You
to.
have a
Can we,
concern,
where's
Ken?
that, yeah, I do, I don't think we should be putting a Connex box out there. It's an area to me that I think should be open. I think it's gonna not look right.
Karen, you have the map where you
I
had us.
didn't bring the map, no, but it's
No.
right
We
at
talked
the,
about it at the last meeting.
yeah,
Was
it's
it the last
right,
meeting?
right where that, you know where I'm talking about, where the walkway is in the south intersection? It's right behind where that fence already is,
Yeah.
their pressure treated timber fence right there. So it's right tucked in that corner.
I'm not aware.
So,
I mean,
when you're on
Where we
Duval
put
Street.
that, where there was that big gap going into the water, that we put the metal, we fixed it with metal, that corner,
Oh, that corner,
yeah,
that's pretty close to the walkway.
it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, I just think for aesthetically, I'm not sure that that's
Yeah, I agree
great.
with that, but if it's painted like
That's
a
why they
nice.
wanted
But he painted graffiti.
Graffiti, I'm thinking that's.
No, I meant,
Not
I meant
graffiti,
get
I
it
think.
before the taggers.
Well, but you don't, there's no assurance that it's not gonna be tagged at any point. Right, now you got something that's gonna be a maintenance issue. I don't know, to me.
They haven't hit the irrigation covers or anything yet, so.
No,
No, but it's always a concern. Right, I don't know, to me, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that they're paying overtime for people to come and pick up all the chairs and tables at the end of events, and there's a lot of schlepping things back and forth, and if it were on site, it would make things a lot more efficient. That's the reasoning. That's where this all came from. Now, it could be, you know,
You got a beautiful park.
right.
How big's the box?
it's a 10 by 8,
That's pretty big.
Oh,
10 feet long?
but it's in the most benign location on the property.
Could
Believe
be
me, I
fen- could
don't
be
like
fenced in?
eyesores either,
But
but,
it's in that grassed area, right?
Yeah.
right.
Could it be fenced in and have a, we have to open the door to
We
get
can
to it?
do anything, we could do anything we want to it, really. I mean, we could put shrubbery around it, we just have to have one end of it open, that's all, or accessible to be opened. We could do whatever we wanted.
And it's more, I think it's a little subject to vandalism also. If you're gonna have it locked.
yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
really
we-
our idea, but.
I think it'll work out well, otherwise a spare parts thing could be an issue.
So I guess the decking is short enough that it would fit in there, the extra decking.
Yeah, there's like 7-foot pieces, 8-foot pieces.
It's 10 foot long, lengthwise, and 8
8
feet
feet
high.
wide, yeah, 8 feet
Wide,
wide, yeah.
how tall?
I think it's 6 feet, 7 feet.
This is the one, right?
Is that the one? Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
yep,
so it'd be in that.
It's in this corner.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
right
mean,
there.
I don't think any of us love the idea, it's just.
So why, so I don't understand why we're not using the state pier.
We can use the state pier, but we're not gonna have easy access to it.
But it's 24/7. And it's just a matter of, we don't need as much as DCM needs it, right?
Right,
Because we're
that's
just,
right.
that's right. So it's not that we're doing it for us, we're doing it for DCM.
Except that it works, it can work out, now that it works out nicely for us, we can put all our spare parts
Right,
there
but you could put
too.
your spare parts at the pier and be comfortable, it's DCM's issue, right? So I would just discuss this, to me, you know, we put so much money into that pier, I'm just not sure that having a big box there is what aesthetically we want to accomplish. And I understand the issue, but DCM, you know, where the city does this all over the city, DCM does this all over the city. They're breaking down, they have concerts in the parks throughout the summer, so they're just doing that as a matter of course of action.
Right, but they're trying to actually put boxes in all those places now.
And how's that working out?
I think I think they're gonna do it, it sounds like.
I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know enough about it, but, you know.
I'm talking to Al, that's what their plan is.
Thanks.
I mean, if it becomes a problem, I suppose we could always remove it, but. We're gonna put a, yeah, that's it right there, right? Yeah.
So when you walk in that walkway, is it a place you actually touch it, or is it off enough where you don't
No,
touch
you
it?
touch
You
it.
touch
You can touch it.
Well, we wouldn't hug it up right to it, we were gonna
Yeah.
put, it was gonna be stepped away so you could get around it if you ever needed to,
Yeah,
just
and a
in
little mulch or
case.
something on that side of it.
Yeah,
We're gonna have.
I see graffiti everywhere now.
We're gonna-
My wife is a noticer of the graffiti everywhere. Look, they hit that now, oh, they hit that now, so we hate to have them hit that, that's for sure.
And they're tagging, usually, historically, they don't tag things that are, been painted, but now they're
Yeah.
tagging painted things. You know, because there's a lot of has done these service boxes, and that was really nice, but now you're starting to see those tagged. And I don't know.
That's like a
I-
billboard.
Huh?
That's like a billboard, 10 by 8.
I just, we're gonna have the Route 79 improvements there, we're gonna have this gigantic walkway, it's gonna be nice, everything's gonna be nice, and I'm just not sure that this is, but listen, it's your call,
Is there somewhere else we could hide it and fence it in somewhere if it's needed that much?
no, I wouldn't, there's no other spot that I would even consider on the pier, given.
What is it, tables and chairs?
Yeah.
Tables,
That's it.
chairs, and a couple of
Put those on a truck.
barricades.
Yeah, that's what they do, they move these things around. Otherwise, we'll be storing things there for everybody.
The stuff we're storing is stuff that we don't need very often, right?
Right.
It's more,
And, well, the only thing would be that we might need the chain falls more often with the shackles and straps and stuff.
okay.
I mean, it's hard to tell, that thing will go up and down based on storms and,
Okay.
seasonal needs, so.
How much space does that take? So we got a little tackle box on the side of
Well,
the,
chain falls probably, and then you've got I think we're getting 10 feet of chain on it, and then we've got the straps, and the shackles are probably that big.
Yeah, but we're not replacing that every week.
No,
No. That's maybe once or twice a season, if that.
it depends on storms.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
And they're not
Nature's-
bringing tables and chairs all year round, so
No.
it's a seasonal
Right.
problem. I hear you with the aesthetics. And once we'll be taking that wooden railing down, and all of that will get redone in that area. So, and that's actually right where we're talking about is where Mass DOT has an easement on our property while they're constructing the pedestrian and bike walkway. So, do we want to think about this some more?
I rethink it. When you go down to Wall Street, when Wall Street's finished, you don't want to be going by area and seeing a beautiful thing and then one thing always being tagged. I never thought about it, but now I'm starting to think about it.
Well, so, I mean, here's the other thing you can think of. I mean, that's gonna probably be 4 years down the road potentially.
Yeah,
And at that time, there's a Connex box, we can put it actually on the Connex pad if we decide we find a different storage system or a better system, and then make that into what we wanted it to be, either some type of a ice cream thing or some type of a vendor thing.
a vendor thing, yeah.
Yeah,
But I've been down there for events, I don't see tables and chairs.
I think they
No,
bring them
they
every
bring 'em
time. That
every
was the
time,
whole
yeah.
reason
But
why
there's-
they
but-
wanted.
Yeah,
There are like 6 of them
yeah,
or
it
something.
sounds like we're talking hundreds, right?
Right.
no, it's probably,
It's stuff that you put, they're going, so DCM, or whoever's putting on these events, have to be there anyway to break it down. If the overtime's the issue, they're already on overtime. Right? So if you're doing an event that's at night, and then you got tables and chairs set up and DCM's putting them on there, they're gonna be breaking those down, so we're not saving on overtime. It's just a question
No,
of,
what's been happening is people have been coming specifically to break them down. Dave has come a few times, and people have come, because the DCM people who are there are mostly manning the porta potty area. And they're bringing a
but
separate
they're still gonna have to
truck.
come down and break it down.
Yeah,
So they're still there for overtime. The question is whether they're breaking them down and putting it on a Connex box that's on site, or they're breaking it down, putting it back in a truck that's gonna drive back to government center to start. That's the only difference. So the
I
overtime
don't think the
is,
plan is to let them be the ones that are breaking it down. I think it's gonna be the people that are putting on the events.
that's a whole other issue,
Right.
right, that I'm not sure.
Who asked for it initially? I don't remember.
Al Oliveira.
Al Oliveira, the head of
For the
facilities,
city, okay.
and he's down to almost just one staff person and trying to find every way to make things more efficient for facilities.
I can't believe he has one staff person.
Yeah, he has Josh and that's it.
There's plenty of people that work for DCM.
For DCM, but they
Yeah.
don't work for facilities per se, DCM. So.
I think we should probably have a meeting with them just to figure everything out. That'd be my suggestion.
Yeah, maybe we can come up with some other idea.
What about the building where they do the sailing and all that?
That's Heritage State
That's
Park.
Heritage
That's
State
that's the
Park,
state
yeah.
park, yeah, the building.
I would just have a meeting with them just to ferret it out a little bit more, just to figure it out.
He said it's part of this.
It does look beautiful when you drive by it.
Does.
You look to the right hand side, it looks beautiful. It doesn't look, looks very, very nice.
Won't
Yeah.
even probably really notice this.
8 by 10's pretty big.
I know how big they are.
Yeah,
Believe me,
no,
I've worked on
but you-
plenty of
But you
them,
would
but.
notice it, right? If you're driving by, you're
Well,
gonna
you'll
see it.
notice that there's already a 3-foot high railing, and then you're gonna have, the top of a box coming up. And I mean, granted, depending on whatever happens with Route 79 and all of that, it would be a whole different ballgame, but that's 4 years down the road, and we could make a different accommodation for it then.
No, you still see it now, even though it's.
No, you would, but I mean, I'm saying,
It won't take
you know,
4
we
years
could
to
put
see
a
them.
row of arborvitae's in front
Yeah.
of it if you wanted to. I mean, we can shield it however you want.
How's the board feel about this? Let's move on. Anybody, any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about the visual of it. I just wonder if there's another way to, we don't need, it's not necessarily us. We could fit our stuff in like something
Tackle
like
box.
down by the,
Well, you're gonna need
The
something that's
irrigation.
probably at least 8 feet long for the composite boards.
Yeah, but you could put those at the pier, you're not using
They're
them.
at- no, they're at the
Yeah,
pier
right,
now.
That's what I'm saying,
yeah.
we're not using those continuously. My suggestion is just we have a meeting with Al and figure it out a little bit more, see what he's doing in the parks, see all that other stuff. You know, like, this is,
Yeah, those areas
yeah,
there.
I just think we gotta maintain the quality of what we've produced, that we've done down there.
I guess even if, I'm just thinking out loud, but even if we shielded it with greenery, it'd still need a gate to get in. You know what I mean? You still have to have one end open.
Oh, yeah, you definitely have to
You
have
know,
one,
so-
one end open for sure, yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe
Okay.
we can talk
So-
with Al about it
Yeah.
and just table it for now. And
Okay.
it's not crisis or anything right now, right?
No.
Especially with the season that we're coming up against, so. I mean, we don't have a lot of more events
No,
before
You're
the,
already doing the events.
so. All right, well, that sounds good. We'll dig into that a little bit more. Do you want to update us on the insurance, Karen?
Yes, so we just got a proposal today from, our insurance agent, Paul Burke, and he was finally able, he went to a marine, insurer, and he was able to get everything as one plan that covers all the city pier, parcel, and the docks. And for 1 year, the premium is $25,800. And it gives us general liability with a $5,000, $2,500 deductible, up to $1 million and $2 million aggregate. And for damage to the piers and wharfs, up to $658,000 with a $2,500 deductible. I mean, a $5,000 deductible, $25,000 deductible if damage is due to wind, flood, or wave action.
2,500, 5,000, 25,000, I had three numbers, which one is it?
It's for the piers and wharfs, it's $5,000 deductible, except if it's wind, flood, or wave, it's $25,000 deductible.
And
And then for the liability, it's a $2,500 deductible.
It's a $25,000 policy?
Yes,
Yeah.
That's for the year?
yes.
And he looked everywhere, and he was turned down over and over, and he because by adding the docks, the insurance company that has been insuring the pier would no longer insure it. And so we had to find a company that would insure the docks and the pier, and so he went to a marina insurance company, but he had told us a year ago that it wasn't going to be easy to insure City Pier. And at that time, he said, maybe you should give City Pier to the city because it's going to be so expensive. And so it wasn't a surprise that it came in so expensive because he'd been predicting that. But we were getting really scared because he was trying and he couldn't find insurance, and we can't open the docks without insurance.
What was the policy before the
It's
docks?
just liability.
How much?
2,000, 3,000,
I
4,000?
I do not remember what that was.
And it
for.
was
It's for Liberty
combined with our
Mutual.
other property.
Yeah, it was just a blanket
Okay. I'm just wondering how much more than 25,000 is, another 20,000?
It's mostly all the docks. It's mostly the docks that, of the breakdown, like 20,000 of that whole cost is for the
Just the
docks,
docks, okay.
yeah.
And the issue with the docks is that they're transient dockage without anyone overseeing them.
Exactly.
And so the fact that they're not overseen makes them more difficult to insure.
But that also includes property damage.
It
Right.
does, it's liability
yeah.
and property
Yeah.
Right, so you
damage.
got a liability portion, which also have 600-something thousand.
658,000.
So that's a good deal in that regard,
Yeah.
if it's damaged by a hurricane or something, right? So,
Can anybody explain to me why the redevelopment authority wants this in this bill? Is there a reason why we want this in the bill? If you're saying we can't give it to the city?
Well, that's a whole other
so
discussion.
the question is, do you want the city to maintain the city pier? Do you want the city to be responsible for the cleanliness,
Yeah.
the grass cutting,
The looks?
the snow removal, the plantings, the TLC, the oversight? I think if there's an argument to be made, the city's staff is stretched just maintaining the existing parks that they have. So I think here, there was at least a decision made to try to maintain it to see what it worked, and then at some point, generate some revenue from the use of the pier to offset these costs.
That's what I'm
moving
saying.
forward.
Yeah,
And I don't see no income coming in, but I see a lot of
Right.
income
Right,
going
so
out.
eventually there's gotta be,
Usually not a good investment.
there's gotta be a revenue source to,
Yeah.
there's gotta be some sort of revenue at some point. But now we haven't even had it open for a year.
yeah. There was discussion of water taxis operating off of the pier. You could have ferries, small ferries. You could have a variety. You could also license the pier to a firm that brings in various things. So that's what Chelsea has done with their pier. And so there's a lot to look into. And I just don't think we're ready to make a decision that 25,000 puts us into giving the pier away.
Yeah.
And-
That discussion, Ron, like we had it early on, exactly what
Yeah.
you're asking.
I just don't know where the money's coming
Well,
from, so that's why.
so for instance, when you have food trucks down there, a percentage of the sales.
Yeah.
So there's different ways you can start generating income here. That's how they do it
Yeah,
at the
and like Ken was
gates.
saying earlier too, that we've been keeping it looking pretty good.
Yeah, it was nice.
And, like,
The
if it
city
ain't broke,
man.
I
don't
can't
fix
tell you
it.
how many compliments I hear
Yeah.
Yeah.
about how nice that pier looks,
Right.
right? But that's because it's planted correctly, it's maintained correctly, and it's tended to, right?
Right.
I'm sure Tom Norton appreciate that with his name on it too.
I'm sure he does. I thought I saw him cutting the grass, but I wasn't sure.
And that's one thing, the whole issue of how the whole Duval Street corridor and the pier and the parks are going to be maintained over time, and kind of what their linkage to the whole 19-acre development is going to be. That's all going to be addressed in the master planning process. So, you know, there's just time to try to figure all this out in relationship to the fact that there's a huge new development coming.
Not criticizing, just
No.
didn't know where the money was coming
Well,
from,
it
so.
scares me
figured I'd
too,
ask you,
I
yeah,
know.
Yeah.
So I do need a motion to direct the chair to proceed with this insurance policy. That I think we just got it like today, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's starting today?
It's not bound yet, I have to bind, I have it, if we approve it, I have a check here that
We gotta give it a
I'll bring
deposit.
tomorrow and it'll be bound.
Motion to move that we go with the insurance that was found for approximately $25,000.
Second?
Second.
John Anderson, yes?
Louis Consos, yes.
Ron Rusin, yes?
Ann Keane, yes.
Joan Maderis, yes.
Thank you. Let's see. Oh, Sarah, passivation?
Yes.
Bid,
So-
result? Yeah.
So we had the passivation, IFB out, and it was a short turnaround. The only company that bid was Stuart Dean, the group that has already done the railings so far. And we asked them to bid on 825 linear feet and the surfaces of the 3 big utility cabinets. And so what that would do is cover the whole south-facing length of the pier toward the Braga Bridge, and the south side of the north pier. It would then leave the whole north pier by the docks to be done in the future. And their bid came in at $64,735.
Half of it?
Well, for, yeah, probably half of the railings. And,
825 square feet, that's $80 a square foot.
Linear foot.
so we're going out tomorrow to meet with them. And what they do is they put a preservative to protect the stainless steel on the railings, which is what has made them so shiny and looking so good. But that was not in the specs, and there's kind of a lot of discussion with the engineers about whether that's a wise idea, and so that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow.
Which engineers? The ones from Beta?
And
SGH.
SGH. It's
Simpson
really
Brothers.
coming from SGH and the ASTM standards, and the ASTM standards don't specifically talk about a stainless steel preservative. But what's challenging is nobody is guaranteeing that the passivation will maintain them for long. You know, there are no guarantees at all for,
That's my next question.
yeah.
But how long are they gonna guarantee it? If we spent $64,000, I mean, it's stainless steel too, so that's supposed to last by itself, and then pasteurize on top of it. You would think it'd last a while.
Well, the stainless steel will last. The issue is this staining on it
Yeah.
and corrosion, and it's the kind of marine stainless steel you should have, but it should have been passivated.
Yeah.
And now we're in the position of passivating it on site, which is harder and not necessarily as effective, and that's kind of what we're stuck with. And we're trying to figure out the best way to do it.
But I think when they pasteurize it, they dip it. They dip the whole thing at once, and it's a lot easier to
Yeah.
do. But if you're doing it, I don't know how you're gonna brush it, I don't know how they're gonna.
They've already done a
Yeah.
pretty fair amount of it.
A significant amount.
I
That
mean,
was
they've done a
Yeah.
chunk of
I
it.
haven't
And
seen
how
it,
is-
okay.
Oh,
Has anyone seen it lately? Is it
Yeah,
still
yeah,
in
it
good
looks,
shape?
it
Yeah.
looks like they did it yesterday. But it is, I think it is, what, we ended up going, the scope, I think, is more than half of what's left, I thought.
It is more than half of what's
Yeah,
left, yes.
yeah.
So, just a couple points. So, why aren't we doing the whole thing?
time And we were breaking it into sections for a variety of reasons, but it's mostly that we've got to have it in before it gets cold, because you can't passivate, you probably can't passivate by November. And the other reasoning was that if we had a firm that was only going to passivate, we could at least try that out. Since we've tried out this process that looks really great, but it has this preservative on it, we could try something out to see if it was as good just passivated.
So we have a piece of that we applied some
Pressurized.
passivation
And this preservative.
and a preservative, and it's working.
Yes.
So now we're gonna do a section of railing the same way or a different way?
We're probably gonna do it the same way.
Okay.
I don't think
Same.
And is that same way, is that in that bid, or is that in
Yeah.
addition? Okay.
No, that's in the
Yeah.
bid.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
so we're doing it
But-
the same way?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
except that the engineers are arguing
Yeah.
against that.
It's just that the SGH guy that we brought on, what, I don't know, a year ago or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah,
He wasn't familiar with that
Right,
process,
right.
and he admitted that right away. So we looked at other projects that they've done that were similar and going back decades that have lasted. So that we didn't really question their knowledge because they do this every day.
Mhm.
So I think it's mostly that SGH is very, very conservative, and they weren't familiar with it.
So they're not guaranteeing it?
Well,
Nobody,
nobody's guaranteeing
we've
it.
talked to all the,
Correct.
nobody
Right.
will guarantee it.
So is the thought process is we do this section and next year we come back and
Yeah.
finish the
But-
rest?
We
But
really
what-
weren't sure if we could get it all done. I think it's, we kind of whipped that bid together pretty quickly.
Right, but we're not gonna leave a portion of this undone.
No.
We're
Oh,
coming back at some
forever, you
point.
mean?
Yeah.
No,
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 okay.
but
No.
but what about what takes place to the section that's not done?
oh, it just will wait until the spring.
Yeah.
But how about when you passivate it then? Will it look good enough through this winter to not
Yeah,
be
because
different? Because it's like you're doing one thing at one time, and what if this railing just gets destroyed in the meantime, and then you're gonna passivate it?
It's
Well,
not
because
gonna
look,
get
what looks
destroyed.
like happened is it kind of reached a plateau where once it had the initial corrosion on it, the tearing, it doesn't look like it's getting that much worse, so I don't think that's a big concern. We were worried about that, we thought about it, but it doesn't appear to be a problem. Is that what you're asking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But part of the process takes that staining off,
Yeah.
right? So
Oh,
you
yeah,
have to go-
it's gone.
Okay.
They
so
clean it first.
should go back to looking what it looked like initially.
Yeah, it looks, I
And then
think
they
he's,
passivate it.
I think
Yeah.
Lewis is asking, he's worried about leaving it longer, some of it longer? is
Yeah,
that-
she
Yeah.
she gets it. Like, I'm saying, how, is it gonna get, this part that's not getting done, is it gonna get
Worse,
worse
yeah.
until we meet that time where we do it? And then what do you do then? But she says that you're gonna scrub it back down, it's gonna look brand new, then they're gonna passivate it.
Well, that's the passivation is that process, when you put the citrus surf on it.
I thought it was the
You brush
protection.
it up, that's the final step.
So
Okay.
they have to do a massive cleaning process, then they do the
Gotcha.
passivation, then they put this preservative on it.
Right, I didn't
So-
know they did the massive cleaning part.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
so the next question, the last question I have on this is, have we approached Beta for a cost contribution for this, since it's their mistake?
yeah, they are contributing toward it.
Okay.
And
So one half is 64,000. The other half will be 64,000 more or a little less?
No, it'll be less, because
Little
it's
bit, it'll
not
be more
quite
than
as
half
long.
done.
But what about the fact that it's gonna be 8 months later and things cost more?
Yeah, we'll go back out to bid.
Yeah.
You know, we
You know what I'm
could,
saying?
The other thing is, it may not be, at our meeting tomorrow, we're gonna see how long he thinks it's gonna take to do the amount that's in
That's remaining.
bid. And if it looks like we may have time and Mother Nature cooperates with us, we'll try to get as much done as we can in this period potentially.
Any chance of getting grants for this?
no,
No, okay. Just figured I'd ask.
yeah.
I like free stuff.
No, I mean, this is,
Well, I think the free stuff,
expensive.
the free stuff should be holding Beta accountable,
Yeah.
right? So I think, hopefully they're contributing their maximum liability on this project, right, of 50,000.
Didn't we already take some part of that?
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Didn't we already take part of that 50,000 for another thing they did wrong? I thought there was like 16,000 taken out for something else.
yeah, well, they're contributing the 50,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we minus what they done the other jobs will go
Well,
towards that
that's
64,000.
okay, yeah, so at least it reduces our exposure.
Right.
I think you might have been thinking of the drainage or.
Yeah, I remember there was something
We
out
had
of
to
that
do some
50,000
more
we said they were using
straightening at
already.
the end, yeah.
So, I guess the other thing about these numbers that we've been talking about is that we've already done probably a third or so. So when you were saying half, we've already done a third.
Yeah.
Now we're doing kind of another chunk, and then we'll have one chunk left.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I was just wondering if it was more or less.
Yeah.
And it
Okay.
looks good, the portion that's
does.
been done, it looks good, yeah.
The master plan, Sarah, do you want to speak to that?
Sure.
Do you need a motion to pay for that, or?
No, it was a bid.
That was part of
It's a bit-
the,
Yeah.
Well, we sometimes do
Do we gotta
get a
get-
motion
Agree to
to
the bid?
accept a bid.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
could reject this bid, so I think we should have a motion to accept this bid.
Right.
All right, so
We're
move
gonna agree to it.
Yeah. I think we
I
got that.
think I already signed it, but. didn't I?
No, you didn't sign this.
not yet, no.
No.
So do we have to agree for the chair to sign a contract?
Right, a
or-
motion to
or
accept the bid and
different-
allow the chair to
Yeah.
execute the contract.
So I need a motion to direct me to sign the proposal for the bid.
Motion for the chair to sign a proposal to spend 64,000 on pasteurizing approximately half more of the railing.
Second.
Second. John Erickson, yes.
Louis Gonzalez.
It's not
Right.
pasteurized.
It's milk.
I don't think it's pasteurized, I just let it
I say
go.
pasteurized.
I just let it go, it's like,
Yeah, I know. We've called it lots
Did
of
Joan
things.
say yes?
Passivation.
that's right.
Did we get Joan? Yes. she
Unless
did.
we
Yes.
use milk, we're
Passivation,
gonna use
yeah.
milk to clean it.
My eyes not as good as they used to be, it's a small screen.
Okay, the master plan. So the master plan RFP went out. We gave them about 6 weeks to respond. They're due on October 12th. 40 companies have received the bid package, which is great. They're not all companies that would bid. Some of them are engineering firms that may want to be a part of a team. It's a complicated enough project, so there may very well be proposals with numerous firms doing pieces of it. 2 large companies that have done waterfront master plans and are very knowledgeable about master planning wrote and asked a number of questions, and we've been working on answers to those and hope to get them out tomorrow. I met with Dan, the city engineer, and Paul Furlan, the head of water and sewer, and got answers from them about utilities and maps that they were asking about. And so we're carefully answering their questions, and we're really hoping that we get lots of really great proposals, and we'll let you know at our next meeting where we are with all of that. And then we're going to vote on it and bring it to the board, we assume, at the November 14th meeting.
Is that an open bid, sealed bid? Or is it just open, you can open it whenever you want?
It's, we have to open them on October 12th at 2 p.m. And then the price bids will be in separate envelopes, and we'll go through this whole evaluation process. And after we've decided the firms that we're most interested in, then we open the price bids and decide what we want, how that looks in the whole scheme of things.
Do we have to go with the lowest bid?
No,
Okay, that's
absolutely
good.
not.
Okay.
For design.
A lot of
No,
times you have to go with the lowest bid, and that's
Yeah.
not the
No,
best
it's
way to do it.
design or services, so it's qualification based first.
Okay.
so we then have this whole evaluation process with weighted aspects, and so we'll go through a whole careful process. And what we decided at the last meeting is that Johnny will appoint a board member to sit on our review committee, and that's still to be figured out.
It's pretty exciting when you
It
think
is
about it, when you try to
exciting.
visualize what it's gonna look like, in a few years.
People in the city are
Yeah.
excited,
Big things.
yeah.
Where are we on the state allowing us to buy the land? Is that getting closer or
No.
the process?
We are having various discussions on that,
Very well.
the various discussions on that.
Oh, yeah? Is it, are we gonna be in charge of it no
We
matter who
have no
gets it?
idea.
Okay.
No, we have no idea. You know,
These RFPs have a disclosure that if we don't get it, that we don't have to pay them back for all the work they've done? I'm just wondering, let's say that we have everybody do these RFPs for us,
Yeah.
and they spend $100,000 trying to set this up, or whatever they spend.
It's your gift to the, it's your gift to the city.
yeah.
Okay, so it's not something we can be sued about?
Sued about?
Sued?
Sued, like, it's
Sued?
just, could somebody sue us?
Lawsuit? No.
Lawsuit
You
for
can master-
making them do that work
We're not
and we didn't
making-
have the land?
Oh,
We're not
no,
making-
no,
we're
we're
not
gonna
making anybody-
pay.
Ask them.
We're
They
not
wanna
making
put in a
anybody do
bid?
any work, we're just
Yeah,
doing a
it's just a
planning
study.
exercise.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a study.
Right,
pretty much.
yeah, we're just doing studies, and the thinking is that at least the city will have decided how they want this to look. We could have changed zoning if necessary, or tweaked it. We can, you know, look at
We
it
can make
comprehensively.
suggestions.
Our
We can
input.
make
Right,
suggestions.
make
for that.
suggestions,
We
but I
can't, we
guess,
can't do anything.
right, that's
Right,
true.
we can make suggestions.
Right.
That's it.
Right, I'm just saying that the
Correct.
zoning board could take these suggestions and make decisions from there. So, yeah, nothing that gets put in the master plan is a decision, it's just a suggestion. But it will allow the city to make decisions, will allow the state to make decisions, and just provide guidance for however it pans out.
Everybody good with that? We wanna talk about the ERP?
Yes, the urban renewal plan for the Flint. Ty and Bond is working on the documents for the MEPA review. We have November 16th as a target date for a public meeting, and we've been calling around trying to find a meeting space, and we're trying to have it at the moment in the senior center community space on Alden Street in the Flint, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. And Emily, our consultant, is developing a survey that we'll be able to distribute at the housing complexes. And Ron is providing gift certificates so we can tell people that they'll be in a drawing for a gift certificate if they return their survey. And so that's all kind of moving along.
The waterfront ERP?
Yep. So the amendment to the waterfront urban renewal plan, we've been talking about at a few meetings. The planning board took the votes that were required to be done by the planning board, and we're getting ready to submit our whole amendment to the Executive Office of Housing and Community and Livable Communities. And we're waiting for a city council vote. The city council vote talked about it at the meeting yesterday and referred it to the finance committee. The next city council meeting is on October 10th. And so we will be presenting to the finance committee, and it will then go to the city council on October 10th, and hopefully they vote to approve the amendment and we can send it to the state.
And then lastly, the 2501 South Main.
Well, this one's easy. We closed on 2501 South Main. Children occupied their classrooms on September 12th. I bumped into Ken Pacheco last night at the city council meeting, and he came over and thanked us and said that it's wonderful and it's going really well. And so that's all a really good, positive story.
That's good.
And
Next, we were gonna talk about the service agreement with the city. Sarah, do you wanna speak to that?
yes, so, the city said that they would like us to pay rent, and that had been something the Redevelopment Authority did years ago, and they're looking at a price per square foot that other entities that rent space in City Hall are paying, and they're still looking at that, so I don't have a definite, but the only thing that's hanging up the mayor from signing it is finalizing a rental payment. And so,
We're gonna try to do it by the next meeting, right? Is that our plan? Is that what
well,
we're supposed to do?
I really wanted us to vote on it tonight and be able to finalize this rental agreement, you know, this whole services agreement with the city. And we thought we were going to be able to. So I guess the options for the board are to say that a couple of board members could work with me to finalize the rental payment, or we can bring it back to the October meeting.
How much space and how much rent are we thinking?
Yeah, we just don't know where the rent's gonna be.
Right.
Like there's not even a range.
Well,
It-
I think it's
There's like-
probably between 7,000 and 9,000 a year.
A month?
A year.
A year?
Yeah.
Oh, a year?
Yeah,
Not a
it's
month.
really a very
Like a penthouse.
minimal, it's a small office and
Well, I thought
So
that was a
between-
lot, because it was, I thought.
600,
You're
750
talking
a
about
month?
38,000?
Something like that.
600, 750 a month, all right.
That's a deal.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
much
and-
space do you have?
Well, we have, and that's been,
Yeah, that's good.
we thought we had 540 square feet. There's a number of 594 square feet that was in city records. That includes more interior walls, and so it's somewhere in there.
Yeah, so you
And-
got 540, but there's 6 inches all the way around inside the wall that do consider you own. So that's where the other 54
Yeah.
square feet come from, so.
Right.
So 500, 600 square feet, so you're paying less than 12,000 square foot. That's
Yeah,
a good price.
Yeah, so we can, agree on the service agreement?
What's that?
Or we gonna,
Well, do
So
we want
should-
to do it without knowing the amount, or do
Can-
we want to do it
well-
not to exceed, or?
Yeah.
what we sometimes do is say that two board members will be empowered to make the final decision, because you've got the parameters.
So I just need a motion to authorize the chair to engage in discussions with another board member to decide to agree on the rental amount.
I volunteer, I know a little bit about real
Yeah,
estate.
I
so-
was,
do.
I was gonna,
and-
you were
and
gonna be my,
Commercial leases, so.
you're gonna be my choice anyway, so.
All right, so make a motion to, with the chair and one board member, to negotiate the final results of the lease and allow the chair to sign it,
Yes.
would be the, so moved.
second.
John Erickson, yes?
Louis Gonzalez, yes.
Ron Newsom, yes.
Ann Keen, yes.
Joan Maderas, yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if we have anything, is there anything else we want
No.
to kick around? Anybody have
No.
any ideas? We don't need an executive session tonight.
No.
There's no reason for it.
Long time.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Run.
Let's try a motion adjourned by 6 PM exactly, that'll be the first time ever.
Second? You're gonna second that?
Second.
John Erickson, yes?
Louis Gonzalez, yes.
Ron Newsom, yes.
Ann Keen, yes.
Was it within 3
Joan
seconds?
Maderas,
Did I say
yes.
6 o'clock or 6 o'clock by phone?
Thank
No,
you,
it's
Joan.
6:01.